Frida Kahlo, a name that is now synonymous with bold self-expression, vivid colors, and poignant pain, was born on July 6, 1907, in the heart of Mexico, in the iconic La Casa Azul, the Blue House, in Coyoacán, which at the time was a small town just outside Mexico City. Her full name, Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderón, reflects both her deep Mexican roots and her father's European heritage. She would go on to become a defining figure in both art and culture, though her journey was fraught with personal challenges, political struggles, and physical suffering. Childhood and family background. Frida's father, Guillermo Kahlo, originally born Karl Wilhelm Kahlo in Pforzheim, Germany, migrated to Mexico in 1891 at the age of 19, changing his name to Guillermo upon arrival. He was a photographer, and his background was steeped in a rich cultural legacy, being the son of a painter and a goldsmith. Frida later spoke of his Jewish and Hungarian ancestry, although records suggest Guillermo hailed from a long line of German Lutherans. During the rise of Nazism in Germany, Frida embraced her German heritage more openly, even adopting the name Frida, meaning peace. Her mother, Matilde Calderón y González, was a devout Catholic of indigenous and Spanish descent. Despite the turbulent marriage between Guillermo and Matilde, they had 4 daughters, with Frida being the third. Frida's bond with her father remained one of the most significant throughout her life. The backdrop to her childhood was the turbulence of the Mexican Revolution, which began when Frida was just 3 years old. Though she later claimed she was born in 1910 to associate herself directly with the revolution, the political unrest left lasting marks on her psyche. As a young girl, she witnessed her mother ushering her and her sisters indoors as gunfire echoed through the streets. Amid the chaos, Matilda sometimes prepared meals for the revolutionaries. At the age of 6, Frida contracted polio, which led to a lifelong struggle with health. The disease left her right leg thinner than her left, and she would later wear long skirts to conceal the discrepancy. It's believed she also suffered from spina bifida, a congenital condition that affected her spinal and leg development. Despite her frailty, Frida had a fierce spirit and an interest in physical activities, even taking up boxing, showcasing her resilience. In 1922, Frida was enrolled in the prestigious Preparatoria, Mexico's national preparatory school, where she stood out as one of the only 35 girls in a predominantly male environment. It was there she joined a gang and met Alejandro Gomez Arias, with whom she developed a passionate love affair. The violent atmosphere of Mexico City during the revolution only added to the intensity of her youthful experiences. The accident. In 1925, Frida's life changed dramatically after a bus accident left her with severe injuries. Bedridden for months, she turned to painting to cope with the pain. Frida's self-portraits became a way to explore her inner world, reflecting the physical and emotional trauma she endured. She once said, "I paint myself because I am often alone and I am the subject I know best." Her paintings, blending Mexican folk art and surrealism, symbolized her pain and personal experiences, rising fame, and artistic development. Frida's path as an artist began to gain recognition when she was invited to exhibit her work in the United States. However, one of the most important moments of her career came in 1939 when, at the invitation of André Breton, she went to Paris and held her first solo exhibition. There, Frida's work caught the attention of international critics. The Louvre purchased one of her paintings, The Frame, marking the first time a 20th-century Mexican artist's work was acquired by the renowned museum. Her time in Paris also exposed her to the Surrealists, who admired her unique style, even though she rejected their label. Frida always maintained that her paintings were not a product of dreams or fantasies, but of her personal reality. This rootedness in her lived experience set her apart from other artists of her time. A tumultuous marriage with Diego Rivera. Frida's relationship with Diego Rivera, one of Mexico's most famous painters, is as legendary as her art. The two first met when Frida, as a young artist, approached Rivera for advice on her work. Rivera, who was an established figure in the Mexican art world, quickly recognized her talent and became her mentor. Over time, their relationship evolved from professional to personal, and they married in 1929. Their marriage was tumultuous, marked by passionate love, infidelity, and emotional turmoil. Both Rivera and Kahlo had numerous extramarital affairs. Frida, who was openly bisexual, had relationships with both men and women, including the famous revolutionary Leon Trotsky. Rivera was aware of his wife's relationships with women and tolerated them. But when he discovered that Frida had an affair with his younger sister, Christina, their marriage became even more strained. The couple divorced in 1939, only to remarry a year later, though their second marriage was just as fraught with complications. Their relationship was defined by periods of separation and reconciliation, but their bond remained deep and unwavering. Later years and political engagement. Frida and Diego were also politically active, both staunch communists. They befriended the Russian revolutionary Leon Trotsky, who sought refuge in Mexico from Joseph Stalin's regime. Trotsky lived briefly with Rivera and Kahlo, and it was rumored that Frida and Trotsky had an affair during his stay. Trotsky would later be assassinated in 1940, an event that had a profound impact on Kahlo and Rivera. In the years that followed, Frida's health began to deteriorate. After a series of surgeries and battles with chronic pain, she had her right leg amputated due to gangrene in 1953. Despite her failing health, Frida continued to paint and live a life filled with political activism and fierce independence. She remained deeply connected to her Mexican heritage, incorporating elements of folk art and traditional symbolism into her later works. Death and legacy. Frida Kahlo passed away on July 13, 1954, at the age of 47. In her final days, she wrote in her diary, "I hope the exit is joyful, and I hope never to return. Frida." The official cause of death was given as a pulmonary embolism, although there were rumors that it may have been an overdose, whether accidental or intentional. An autopsy was never performed. Her death left a profound mark on Diego Rivera, who, in his autobiography, described it as the most tragic day of his life. He reflected that he had only truly realized the depth of his love for Frida after her passing. Rivera's sorrow was shared by many, as Frida's legacy had already begun to grow in stature and influence. Today, Frida Kahlo's legacy continues to captivate the world. La Casa Azul, her former home in Coyoacan, is now a museum dedicated to her life and work. Her paintings, deeply personal and yet universally resonant, have cemented her as an icon of both art and feminism. Through her vivid colors, symbolic imagery, and unflinching self-examination, Frida Kahlo's work endures as a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of suffering, love, and revolution. As we reflect on her life, it becomes clear that Frida Kahlo was more than an artist. She was a revolutionary, a survivor, and a symbol of resilience. Through her art, she invited the world to witness her personal struggles and triumphs, and in doing so, she has left an indelible mark on both art history and culture. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Frida Kahlo. From her early struggles to her rise as one of the most iconic artists in history, her story continues to inspire millions around the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of art and culture. See you in the next video.